Any questions he may have for the panel?
Mr. Scott, what do you have against whole milk? I'll give you as much time as you may consume.
I don't have anything against whole milk. I just like to follow the science. And if the scientists have concluded, having heard all the evidence, that that low-fat, non-fat milk is the best alternative, you get the best nutrition, the healthiest alternative, I'm not going to try to substitute my opinion for that.
So, but you have nothing against whole milk?
No, just you've gone through a process. You've presented all the opinions have been and studies have been presented to a panel of experts, and they come up with a recommendation. Whole milk didn't make it.
What about the real world data, though? I mean, you can do experiments in a lab. You can measure nutrition. You could, find out everything that's in it and come up with an idea. But Mr. Thompson says that actually, when they took out whole milk, obesity rates went up. Is that correct?
At least one case study.
Okay.
Clear.
He has a study that shows that.
And I'm sure that study was presented to the experts. They considered it. And with all the evidence they had before them, whole milk didn't make the cut.
Well, his hypothesis is, or the study's hypothesis, or maybe a conclusion that you could draw from it, is that when kids don't have whole milk, which does taste better than skim milk or low-fat milk or soy milk or whatever kind of milk, that they're going to drink something, and they're not going to drink the other kinds of milk, and they end up drinking caffeinated, carbonated, drink saturated with corn syrup and sugar, and or other things, and they don't end up drinking these other milk products. I mean, I would assume that when you don't offer whole milk, is it true, Chairman Thompson, that they consume less milk, that the kids consume less milk when you don't have that offering?
Yeah, the milk consumption was significantly less, and meeting the nutritional benefits. So going to that panel of so-called experts, those folks who are responsible for the dietary guidelines for Americans, since 1994 they've informed school lunch meals, but then suddenly in 2010 legislation singled out milk as a specific food item for regulation, and administrative action has not only continued that trend, but USDA recently proposed even more restrictions on milk, despite acknowledging that students are not getting the amount of dairy recommended by the DGAs. And so the 2020 to 2025 Dietary Guidelines for American reports, so these are the so-called experts, the panel of experts being made reference to, they report that nearly 90% of Americans do not meet their daily dairy intake recommendations, with kids 2 to 18 years old typically not meeting those recommendations, so dietary guideline recommendations. So it's that group, in an informed way, has said that we're not, the current status quo is not meeting the dietary needs and nutritional needs of the recommendations that these kids should have.
No, I'm not a lawyer. I know, Mr. Scott, you're a trained lawyer. Is that correct?
I used to practice law.
Okay. But I've been told you're not.
Word.
I've been told you're not supposed to ask a question if you're from a witness unless you know the answer. Or Trey Gowdy.
I have violated that so many times and learned why that rule is good.
Well, as Trey Gowdy said, or if the answer doesn't matter. But I do have a question. I see that one of our former members of the Rules Committee testified in a committee. Is that right, on this topic? It says here. I just wonder what his position was on this. Was that in a subcommittee, or Jared Polis, Governor Polis, did he testify?
Oh, probably back in.
He wanted what? Cannabis milk. Probably hemp milk.
Yeah.
But he actually, I will wait to see if he testified.
Oh, he testified, but not on this topic.
Okay, not on this topic. The reason I'm interested in that is I actually went out to Colorado, and before he was Governor Polis, when he was just a member of the Rules Committee, we you might call it a stunt, I don't know, a publicity stunt. We went and we consumed a lot of food that's considered contraband. We had meat directly from a farm. We had eggs that didn't go through the process. We had some hemp smoothies, to your point. And we had raw milk, and we did it in front of a TV camera. And I can guarantee you that raw milk was not skim milk or lactose-free milk. So I don't know I just wished I knew which side of this equation he came down on, because generally I think he's for more food in the natural form. You know, I represent 21 counties in Kentucky, and the poorest counties measured in per capita income have the highest obesity rates. And it's not coming from milk, folks. Especially the juvenile diabetes and the things that we're seeing, and diabetes among adults, it's not coming from whole milk. And I think if the kids, when they're at school, can have a milk that tastes good, when they go home, that's what they're going to prefer. But if their experience at school, which is a lot of times, some of these kids, it's the only time they get different foods is when they go to school. If their experience is, this milk tastes like hard water, I can get this out of the tap back home, when they go home, they're not going to ask for milk, or they're going to see it in the fridge and say, oh, that's not good. So anyways, I support this bill. I think it's a good idea. I mean, we've been coexisting with whole milk for at least 10,000 years. And as Chairman Thompson says, the science has changed on this. They used to say that certain kinds of fat were bad for you, and now they say it's good for you. In fact, it's necessary for brain development in young children. And so I think this would be a good bill to pass. And to the ranking member's point, it does say in the bill, may offer students flavored and unflavored whole milk, reduced fat, low fat, fat-free fluid milk, and lactose-free fluid milk. So the bill does, is that true? It allows them to have lactose-free milk?
That's correct. And the underlying law, which hasn't, the part that hasn't been changed, if there are other allergies or any other alternative beverages, certainly can be offered as well.
Well, I'm in favor of the bill, and I hope this passes, and I support the rule to put it on the floor, and I yield back.